Will Lee Cronin's The Mummy bring new life to an ancient relic?
Or should it have stayed buried? Find out next on the cutting room floor.
Brought her to life.
Now it's killing everybody. What's up, misfits and metalheads, and welcome to another episode of the cutting room floor. We are from the band Cut Like This. I am Thorn Black.
I'm Roseblood.
And today we are talking about Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Oh man, I'm looking forward to talking about this one today.
Oh yeah.
But first, don't forget we have music all over the place. Give a band some streams. Check out our music videos here on YouTube and support us at our website, cutlikethismusic.com. Rose, where is this one streaming? I believe this one is actually streaming on HBO Max. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So anybody who has HBO Max, you are in for a treat. Let's dive into this one. And Rose, why don't you tell them what The Mummy is about?
Well, The Mummy is basically about a family. They are, the father is a TV reporter, the mom is a nurse, and they are they're stationed in Egypt. He's doing, local news and different things like that. And, in the midst of all of the hubbub and everything of living their life there, their daughter is unfortunately kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
And 8 years later, they've started a new life. They live in a new place entirely. They're living in New Mexico. And all of a sudden, they hear news. Their daughter has been found. And she's alive. Or is she? And that is pretty much the plot here.
This was crazy.
This movie was incredibly disturbing.
Imagine that 8 years.
Ooh, 8 years. That's traumatizing.
Like they just thought their child was dead for 8 years.
Ooh.
How do you ever get over that? I'm surprised. Honestly, like I was curious to see if this family would even be together at that point.
Pretty much. I was really surprised that they made it, but they did, and they have definitely been affected. This movie explores the themes of guilt, of accountability, of family, and what that means. These characters are played very well. The lead character, our TV reporter dad, his name is Charlie, and he is played by Jack Raynor. He was in a very awesome cyberpunk TV series that I very much enjoyed called The Peripheral by William Gibson.
Okay, I remember that one.
Based on the book by William Gibson. He was also, more people might recognize him from the horror community for being in the movie Midsummer.
He was in that?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He was the main character in that.
I forgot he was the main character in that.
We've got Larissa Cannon. Well, honestly, Florence Pugh is the main character, but he is also a major character in it.
Yeah.
We've also got his wife, Larissa Cannon. She's played by Leia Costa. She played the Mogedian, aka the Spider, in the Wheel of Time series. She was the one that was conniving. She was one of the Forsaken, which I am a big nerd, so of course I love the Wheel of Time series.
Show.
Of course I do. We also have, the brother and sister of our main character, of the actual Mummy character. We've got Sebastian Cannon, he's played by Shiloh Molina, and Maude Cannon is played by Billy Roy, and of course there is Katie Cannon. She is the incredibly disturbing star of this film. She is played by Natalie Grace. Isn't she disturbing in this movie? Terrifying. She is absolutely, and it's crazy because we're watching the behind the scenes of one of the behind the scenes of this thing, and she's so sweet and nice, and like adorable in person. She is absolutely terrifying. Terrifying. If you thought that a little girl, I'll admit, okay, I've seen a lot of versions of The Mummy, with one of my favorites being, of course, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
Classic.
But, there have been so many going way, way back. There's been so many different Mummy movies. Right. And oftentimes they are adventure films. Lee Cronin decided that he wanted to do this as a straight up horror, and he delivers the goods.
I am glad
he delivers the freaking goods on this.
I'm really glad that Lee Cronin decided to do this horror. One, because it turned out fantastic, and two, just to give us a different take on this genre, I think is really nice to make it really, really scary. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that nobody's ever really tried to put like the
Oh
fear
yeah, no,
of the
of
mummy in there,
course.
but it's just nice it's just a straight horror. It's just like, wow, good
Yeah.
job, Lee.
Yeah, straight up. And and if it makes you think of Evil Dead, that's because he also wrote and directed Evil Dead Rise. So this has some people complained that they felt that the storyline was a little too similar to the storyline for Evil Dead Rise. But I disagree with that because first off, these kids are great. They're not annoying.
Yeah, they're really good kid
So I
actors.
found the kids annoying in Evil Dead Rise. So
Yeah.
I think that these kids are much more. This feels very much like a real family. Like these characters very much like seem to really care about each other. There's also notably the grandmother that is also staying with them in New Mexico. She is played by Veronica Falcon, and she is awesome. The grandmother is amazing. Her name in the movie is Carmen Santiago. And, if you've seen enough Evil Dead movies, you know the grandmothers are not treated very well in them. So you can guess that something crazy gonna happen to her. But she's an awesome, I really liked her.
I didn't really compare this to Evil Dead at all on
Yeah.
my own when I was watching the movie.
There was definitely
Like,
some
yes,
Easter eggs that made me
yes,
think
it's
of
a
it, but
horror movie.
not,
Yeah, the same guy
not the
made
same.
it, but I didn't really
Yeah.
feel like that. I wasn't comparing it at any time. It stood out on its own for me in a very good way.
Yeah. This is also one of the few English language mummy films that actually has major characters that are really Egyptian. That is an unfortunate thing that happens. Whitewashing, especially back in the 90s and stuff like that, was very common. So they usually have people of different ethnicities playing Egyptian characters. So two of the major characters in this that are Egyptian are really played by Egyptian people,
Oh,
which
go
is
figure.
really cool.
That's not too hard to do, is it?
Yeah, imagine that. So, speaking of May Kalamaui, she is the aforementioned actor that I was speaking about, is a known Egyptian actor. She plays Detective Dahlia Zaki, and she is very crucial to this story. She also plays the Scarlet Scarab in the Moon Knight TV series, which is awesome. And
That should have got a second season, in my opinion.
when she was in Moon Knight as that character, she made history because she was the first Arab and first Egyptian superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Really, I just, a little cool tidbit there. Yeah, she's super important to the story. We've also got, there is a character called the Magician, and she's played by Hayat Kamil. And this actor is from Vikings Valhalla. That was like the spin-off that's like 100 years later of Vikings. And she also was a voice actor in Assassin's Creed Origins. That was the one set in Egypt as well.
Yeah.
So
That was a cool one.
cool little
One
tidbits.
thing I really enjoyed about this movie that we found in the making of is that as much as possible is done in practical effects.
Yeah.
As much as possible, he's pushing the limit of what can we do here? How gross can we make it? Can we lift this person up with wires? Can we make this like real life gross and just like gooey? So they push it as absolutely far as possible as they could with what could be done practically before adding any kind of like CG special effects. And I think that helps lend into like just the disgustingness, the creepiness, the scariness of this movie.
Yeah.
It just really just leans into it even more because of that, I believe.
One of the other things that I really enjoy about this depiction of the mummy is that some people forget that the mummy is a cursed thing. And I feel very much that Lee Cronin went out of his way to show the effects of this curse. Like even just having the mummy there and not entombed and not wrapped up is enough to start the decay and the corruption
Yep.
that the mummy brings. And it's starts off subtle and then it is not subtle.
Yeah, I like how it ramps up. Yeah.
It's very ramped up. As you go, you'll see like things start to turn different colors, things start to get goopy, things start to get nasty. And it's really cool that they actually put that little detail in it of just the corruption of just even just having it exist. Even just pulling the lid off of the sarcophagus is
That's
enough.
risky. Yeah,
to,
yeah.
You
just
know,
like,
in the beginning of the film is enough to really start a chain of events unfolding that is just diabolical.
I'm like, can we drop this thing into a volcano?
I'm saying,
People keep
it
playing
is
around.
messed
Can
up.
we just
It's
drop it
messed up.
directly into a volcano, please?
You don't want to do that because then you'll burn the freaking bandages off and then you have trouble all over again. So yeah, all of that being said, we like to rate via chainsaw with 5 chainsaws, being a cinematic masterpiece of horror. 1 chainsaw, you ain't getting no bandages cut off with that. So, Thorn Black, how many chainsaws would you give to Lee Cronin's The Mummy?
I'm gonna give Lee Cronin's The Mummy a whopping 5 out of 5 chainsaws. This movie is a fantastic. It's scary. It's gross. They really picked such a good main character in this little girl. I gotta tell you, she's playing this creepy role up. And then the way she looks once they put the makeup and the prosthetic and the stuff on
it's horrifying.
her, she is so unsettling and disturbing to look at. And then you get these hints, these little tiny moments of her being the sweet child that she was before, just throughout the movie sprinkled. And then this just evil monstrous mummy that's taken over her body is just using it half of the time to mess with people. Oh my goodness, it's so good. They have so many good gross out body horror moments. Like they have some stand out disgusting body horror,
it's bad,
cringe, like oh my god, like moments in this movie. This kid actor is crushing it. The entire cast did a really good job, and I really like Lee Cronin's vision in making this a really scary horror mummy movie. You know, like I
Absolutely.
think it's fantastic. It's well done. It passed my expectations for what this was going to be. Rose, what are you going to give this one?
I am also going to give this movie 5 bloody running chainsaws. I agree with absolutely everything that you just said. This is a terrifying new vision. I know some people didn't like it because they wanted it to be more of the adventure style, but they should have known from the fact that, I mean, he comes from Evil Dead, so and I'm not going to spoil anything, but that's significant to this film.
And one thing, not to interrupt you, but
yeah,
you have to accept a movie for what it is and then judge it for what it is rather than what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've definitely fallen into that trap
I've fallen
before.
into that trap too, but also I've given stuff a score higher than I would have because, you know, I was judging it off of something that I wanted it to be, and that's not fair.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. And there have been so many iterations of The Mummy. There have been so many mummy movies. And, you know, Brendan Fraser's, as much as I absolutely adored that film, is not the be-all, end-all of mummy movies. There were so many preceding it, and I'm sure there's going to be so many coming afterwards. You know what I mean? So I'm not judging it by that. That's exactly why he put his name in front, so that people would know, this is my version of this. This is a creature feature, which I'm all about a good creature feature. That's what I love to see. I love a good prosthetic. I love practical effects. I love, you know, some really there are some just insane moments of straight body horror. All I gotta say is the tonenails. The toenails! Why? The toenail trauma.
When you get to the toenail scene, that's all I'm gonna say.
All I gotta say is the toenails and the piggies. All right, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Those 2 moments for me sealed the deal. I was like, all right, this is out of hand. This is out of hand.
If you need us to do a version where we're just talking about the movie with spoilers, let us know in the comments.
Exactly.
Also.
We've been thinking about doing it more in depth and maybe doing that as like a podcast version so we don't have to worry about editing, you know, like an hour of video. Let us know. If that's something that you want to see, you need to make your voice heard. We do read our comments. We do care about what you have to say. We are real people that really love horror, and we want to share it with you. We're just excited, and we just want to let you know, hey, here's the cool stuff that's going on in streaming. You have so many choices that sometimes it's really hard and it's sometimes helpful. You know, just think of us as your spooky besties that are here.
We're trying to wave the flag
just,
like this way.
You know, hey,
the good movies are over here.
Here's the good movies. Here's the good movies. We try to focus on the movies that we really enjoy, and sometimes we will tell you about movies that are just we had high hopes for and they didn't quite meet those expectations.
You have your homework for the weekend. You're welcome. Once again, we are from the band Cut Like This. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Hook a band up and join our mailing list. That is all for today. We are out.